First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim Kakudash. Yahweh to this world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai to this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Ba'ashim means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's all in the Paleo Hebrew. Also want to give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Today's video, I wanted to go into how the elect will not go back into the world. Okay, and this is something important to think about because it means that no matter what happens, the elect, no matter what happens to them, will not give up, will not throw in the towel, and will keep on fighting, pushing, doing the right thing until the end. And when you go into Mark, the 4th chapter, okay, it goes into the parable of the sower, and it gives you 4 situations that will happen when you hear this word. So I'll start at Mark chapter 4 and verse 15. It says, "And these are they by the wayside where the word is sown, but when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts." All right, so first scenario is you hear the word, but instantly, it's taken away. And you can liken that to, let's say, somebody clicks on your video and somebody distracts them, right? In that moment where they're about to start listening, somebody tells them, "Hey, let's go do this and that," and they just click off the video. Or even if you're downtown, somebody comes up, a group of 2, and they listen for a little bit, and then the other person's like, "Hey, we gotta go." So it never really sinks in. The second, verse 16, "And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness, and have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time. Afterward, when affliction or persecution ariseth for the word's sake, immediately they are offended." Okay, and this is another scenario where, the person receives the word, okay? They're following the Most High. They receive it with gladness, but they don't really know what they're into, okay? They don't understand that it says in Ecclesiasticus 2:1 that if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. You will be tested. And the tests come from all types of fashions. Okay, the Lord, He's going to put a test on you to test you. That's the whole point, to see if you're going to break and if you're going to go back into the world, okay, not do what He tells you to do, break the commandments. That's what He's testing you. He's testing you is your integrity, your faith, if no matter what happens in your life, you're going to keep going. So these people, it says they receive it with gladness, but they have no root in themselves. Right, so they endure for a time. Right, so these people don't have a strong foundation. And when those afflictions, the persecutions arise for the word's sake, immediately they're offended. And that's the key I said, is that, for the word's sake, you're going to be afflicted and you're going to have persecution. You're going to go through something that does not feel nice. But if you believe in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, you'll understand it is a test from Him. It is all from Him, and your job is to keep enduring, apply the commandments, and that's applying wisdom, right? Do what the Lord says in the book to do. But these people, they will be offended, okay? They will feel offended, attacked. Now I can't do this anymore, and they'll give up. And once that happens, back into the world. Next scenario, "And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful." Right, so these people hear the word, but they get distracted, okay? They get distracted with all the worldly things, okay? Giving energy into other things that are not the Lord. And once you start doing that, if you're giving all your energy towards the world, you don't have energy to give into the Lord, okay, to water that seed. So that seed will ultimately be choked. It will become unfruitful. So this is important because it shows that, your intention has to be fully on the Lord, 100%. And the last, it says, "And these are they which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word and receive it and bring forth fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100. So this person is somebody that, fell on good ground and they're focused 100% on the Lord. No matter what trials and tribulations come, they understand it's from the Lord and it's a test. And the Lord said that He's not unrighteous to put a test upon you that you can't pass. And, that's part of having faith is, having faith when, the times are difficult. That's when it matters the most, is when you're like, I don't know what to do, but yeah, I'm going to do what Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai told me to do and keep going, because I know he's in control. And that's the most important thing, is doing what the Lord tells us to do and not leaning onto your own understanding. Okay, it talks about that in Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. It says, trust in Yahweh with all thine heart and lean not into thine own understanding. Right, so what is your own understanding? Okay, things outside of what the book says. Oh, I think I should do this. I think I should do that. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to look at, okay, if you don't know what to do, look at the scriptures. Okay, because this is our guide. Okay, the Lord's Spirit is in this book. Okay, and you following him is you following what the scriptures tell you to do. So don't lead on your own understanding and what you think. Trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai with your whole heart and do what he tells you to do. Because one thing I've realized is that once you apply the scriptures, that the scriptures are not there just to be there. Okay, they're there to guide you and to make your life better. And one thing about the scriptures is that every single thing that is written is to our benefit. Okay, it's to lead to peace. Okay, it's to lead to prosperity. Okay, and to righteousness. Once you deviate from the scriptures, that's when you start running into problems. So trust in Yahweh with all thine heart and lean not into thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Right, so in everything you do, acknowledge him. Okay, what would the Lord want me to do right now? Well, I don't know what he wants me to do. Let me go and read. Or let me go pray to him to show me what to do. Right, and find it in the book. But let's go to 2 Peter 2. And the topic of the video, the elect will not go back into the world. Right, so let's get that in Matthew chapter 24 and verse 24. It says, for there shall arise false Mashiachs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Right, so people speaking false doctrine, okay, false prophets, people, the world trying to sway you. But the elect, no matter who talks to them, what they come across, they're not going to fall out. And these false prophets and these, great signs and wonders, those are stumbling blocks. Okay, the Lord has made it where, there are certain things that are going to happen in our life where if you're not part of the elect, you're going to stumble over, you're going to get offended. Right, Yahweh Shai said, blessed is he who is not offended in me. Right, Matthew chapter 11, and I'll start at verse 6. It says, and blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Right, and what does that mean? It means that, you bearing your cross, whatever is happening in your life, you're not offended at what happens. Right, you don't get emotional and just give up. You have to understand that, hey, this is part of the straight gate. Right, there's a reason why, the straight gate is mentioned. In Matthew chapter 7 and verse 13, it says, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Right, so the correct way, when you go into that word straight, it goes into a path of difficulty. A difficult time, straight. It says, a narrow passage of water connecting two seas or two other large areas of water. And definition 2 says, used in reference to a situation characterized by a specified degree of trouble or difficulty. Right? Example, the economy is in dire straits. Right? So a bad, difficult situation. So that is the right path. If you're going through a bad, difficult situation, guess what? That's exactly what you got to go through. And it says that many there be, it says that narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Right, so few people are going to enter the right path because it's not easy. It's not easy when you're catching hell and your life is just going to shit and everything is just going terrible, it's not easy to not look at the world and focus on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay, the flesh in those moments wants to say, hey, F all this, I'm going to do it my own way. I'm not going to apply the commandments. But the spirit is going to say, hey, no matter what's happening, I'm going to keep applying the commandments. I'm going to keep applying the commandments. I'm going to keep applying the commandments. Right? So that's why, there be few that find it. Because, somebody that is not part of the elect, right, they'll go through a trial and tribulation and they'll get offended. They'll get emotional as to what's happening and they'll give up. Right? They'll stop doing the right thing because, they got emotional. They stopped applying Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. But it says, let's read Luke 13:24. Strive to enter in at the straight gate, for many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in, and shall not be able. Right? So here it is, you think you believe, but let's see if you really believe when the Most High starts putting you through that fire. And one thing about that fire is, there's a reason it's called fire, because it's going to burn. It's going to feel terrible, whatever the Lord puts you through. And it's not to destroy you, it's to purify you, to show you something. Okay, there's always a lesson. It's to show you something. Okay, and if you're not going through anything, that's a sign that, the Lord might not be dealing with you. And of course, it's a balance, because the Lord puts you in that fire and then takes you out. But it says that in Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 5, it says, and ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children, my son. Despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. Right, so when you're going through that chastisement, you're going through those hard times, okay, don't despise it, okay? Don't look at it like, damn, Lord, this is enough. Like, don't despise it. Go through it because it's necessary. And it says don't faint, okay? When he rebukes you, don't, give up. Keep going. Because if the Lord loves you, that's exactly what he's going to do to you. Okay, he's going to put you through that fire to make you better. It says, if you endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are you bastards and not sons. Right? So, it says, if you endure the chastising, then the Most High deals with you. Right? But if you're not even being chastised, then, the Most High is not dealing with you. Which is a lot of people in this world. Right? You see them living wicked. Right? You see them just prospering, being wicked. It's because the Most High is not dealing with people like that. Right? They're living it up right now, but soon they're going to pay that judgment. While right now we're paying what we got to pay, but soon we will live it up and we will be protected in the days of adversity. Let's go to verse 11. It says, now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Right, so when you're going through that trial, okay, you're being tested, it doesn't feel good. It feels terrible. It feels like, why, Lord? Lord, I don't know if I could do this. But that's when that faith kicks in. You remember, okay, it's just a trial. Eventually, it will end, and, the Lord brings that balance of putting you in that water, letting you cool off until another trial comes. And it's a purification process. Okay, it's going to keep happening because the Lord, ultimately with the elect, okay, he's making them to be like him. He's making them to be the examples of righteousness. So afterward, it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. So once after you go through it, you come out more righteous. But the thing is, you got to go through it. You can't give up. And the elect will not give up. The elect will not give up and go back into the world. No matter what happens to them, they will endure. They will do what they have to do. Keep faith. Keep the commandments. Do what the book says and keep pushing. It says, wherefore lift up the hands which hang down and the feeble knees, make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. Right? So strain yourself out, because in 2nd Ezra that put off the The weak nature, that's what it says. In 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 14, it says, "Let go from thee mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, but put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee. Haste thee to flee from these times, for yet greater evils than thou which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein." Right, so put off the mortal thoughts. Whatever is bothering you from day to day, put it off. Okay, put off that weak nature of giving up and not even fighting back, man. Of not having faith. Set aside those heavy thoughts. Those thoughts that are bothering you, put it to the side. Okay, because greater evils than you can possibly imagine are coming. Right, so focus. Okay, focus on building your foundation. Focus on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Okay, applying wisdom, righteousness, because a time like never before seen is coming. And that's what this world doesn't understand. Okay, this world doesn't understand that judgment is coming. And that's why people live it up. People talk about, I still got time. I'm going to seek the Lord, when the end comes, and we going to live it up right now. That's why I said that straight is the gate that leadeth to life, but broad is the way, wide is the way that leadeth to destruction. Because okay, if you go with what the world is telling you of, nah, don't seek the Lord, that's the broad way, right? The broad way is not keeping the commandments, not doing what the Lord tells you to do. And it's very easy to do that. Okay, it's very easy to fall into the flesh and do that. But Ecclesiasticus chapter 5 and verse 7, "Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of Yahweh come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance." Right, so you can't procrastinate when it comes to the Lord, okay? You can't put him off, because if you do that, he's going to get you when you least expect it. And that's what's going to happen to the world. So, see what other scriptures I got here. 2 Peter 2 and verse 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 20. So it says, if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of the Lord and Savior Yahushua HaMashiach, they are again entangled therein and overcome, the latter end is worse with them than the beginning. Right, so if you escape the world, the Lord puts the Spirit on you to be righteous, to stop celebrating all these pagan holidays, Christmas, Halloween, your birthday, New Year's, all that goes back to pagan origins. Right, you stop eating all these abominable foods. Right, you start keeping the commandments. If you escape the pollutions of the world, okay, it's going to be worse for you if you're entangled up with all that again and you go back into it. It says that the latter end is worse with them than the beginning. So you're going to be an even bigger demon if you go back into the world. Okay? So if you were in the world, you used to, smoke weed, and you go back into the world after already knowing the truth, your ass will fucking be smoking fentanyl. Okay? You be a mass adulterer. Okay? Be a murderer. When you go into the parable, or it talked about how there's a spirit in a man and left, and after left, it came back to that same man, and it saw that his house was clean and furnished. His house was clean, that there's nothing in it. Right, showing you that spiritually that man had done nothing. He had done no building, no foundation. He was the same man. So when that spirit comes back, he says, oh, we got space. I'm going to bring back 7 stronger demons than me, and we going to mess this man up. And it says that the last state of that man is worse than the beginning. And that goes back into going back into the world. But verse 21, it says, for it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than after they have known it, to turn from the holy commandment delivered unto them. Right, so it would have been better if you didn't even know nothing at all. Because now you know, and if you commit the wrong thing knowing, okay, you will pay a bigger price. Okay, that's why it says in Luke that the servant who knew his Lord's will and did it not shall be beaten with many stripes. But the servant who knew not his Lord's will and did not shall be beaten with less stripes. Because to whom much is given, much is required. Okay, you have a responsibility now. Okay, you can't pull the I didn't know card. No, you know what you're doing. And you will be responsible for your actions. Verse 22, but it has happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the soul that was washed to her wallowing in the mire. Right? So you go back into the world, and it's the proverb being accomplished of you going back to your own vomit, just like the dog. So, these are important things to think about because, okay, you got to analyze your spirit and see, am I doing the right thing? Okay, am I serving the Lord? Okay, am I repenting of my sins? And am I in a humble spirit? What am I doing every single day? Because if you're not in that spirit of repentance and humbling and learning from your mistakes, and one thing about that is we're all, it's inevitable we're all going to fall. It says a righteous man falls 7 times, but getteth back up again. Let's get that. In Psalms, Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 16, it says, for a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. Right? So if you're just, you're doing the right thing, okay, it's inevitable you're going to fall because we're in these bodies. Okay, and it says 7 times, right? Multiple times. Okay, a complete number. 7 is a complete number. So you're going to fall, but what matters is you rise up again, you repent, okay? You seek the Lord humbly and keep fighting. Okay, keep fighting and fighting and fighting and never give up. Right? That's part of enduring is you fight. Okay, you endure, you go through whatever you have to go through. But the wicked are going to fall into mischief. Right? The wicked are going to fall and give up and throw in the towel and go back into the world. But the elect will not do that. Okay? The elect will not do that. So I think that's all for me today. Let me see what Romans 10 and 2:1. Right, Romans chapter 10 and verse 2. This is also good. It says, for I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. Right, a lot of our people, they have that spirit of, they know the Most High is real. Right, they have that zeal of believing in a higher power, but they don't do it the right way. It says, for they being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God. And that goes into people that don't even know the Most High and people that know the Most High, right? As soon as you start ignoring the righteousness of the Most High, okay, his commandments was written in the book, and you try to go and establish your own righteousness, you try to do it your own way, that means that you haven't submitted yourself, okay, to follow the right path. You haven't submitted yourself to follow the straight gate. You're not submitting yourself to the Lord. Because submitting yourself to the Lord is doing what he tells you to do, regardless of what happens in your life. So, I'll leave it there. The elect will not go back into the world. Hopefully this was edifying. With that, and give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakudash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to the elect. Shalom.